3, 2, 1. Holla ballers! What's going on? It's Preacher. So, with all the recent negativity in the community, I thought we'd spice things up a little bit and put some cheeriness back in that bastard. And let's have a talk about why we play. Because a lot of you be like, oh, God, Preacher, you've been making these videos, like, you're so negative, you're so down, why are you still playing? Let's play some other stuff, let's do some other stuff. And I agree, we are going to bring more games to the channel because we have to anyway. But why do I still play? I think it's, honestly, as much as a lot of it is, there are some people who believe if you dislike one little thing about something, then you should hate the whole thing. And I get that that's like kind of a childish attitude, but some people still think that way. That's okay. You get there eventually. I mean, sometimes my wife pisses me off. I ain't leaving her, right? You know what I mean? I ain't leaving her. So, in terms of WoW, and people are like, why are you still playing? The thing is, with all the stuff that's been negative recently, which has been the extra content, right? Which has been like the shipyards and Tanan in 6.2. That's like 10% of why I play. Honestly, why do I play? This is why I play.
Oh my god.
Do it. Come on. Come on.
1 million.
Come on. Do it.
Oh my god,
Come on. Yeah.
Fuck you up, Tiger! Fuck you up, Tiger!
What? Nice.
No other game in the world can give me that feeling. And this game gives me that on a pretty regular basis. Especially as now I've moved down, honestly, from chasing the world first and all that kind of stuff. With a lesser Progress Guild, you have that feeling way more, which is kind of a cool side effect, honestly, because bosses that previously you would have walked over, with a group of friends, now it's like, oh, that's going to take a few wipes, and then there's that learning curve aspect of it, which is always the best part. This is why I hate bosses in, like, Mythic that are just, like, let's take Mythic Dungeons, which is more health. Same thing, more health, less damage. Boring face. When it's more mechanics and you're learning and it's more, there's just an intrinsic value in getting that boss down. And then that result, that adrenaline as it gets to the last few percent. You're going to do it. People are still alive. Oh shit, someone fucking died. This is going to happen now. How are we going to cope with that? And you have to think really fast and, your heart starts racing and then you get that kill, that sweet kill. That's why I play. It's why I encourage all of you to get involved in it. It's why I encourage you to stop being the plebs who think about item level as something worth looking at. If you're still one of those guys, I encourage you to look at the world first guilds right now and look at the gear they are wearing, and 12 out of 13 bosses are down. They don't have the legendary rings, which are, as we can all see right now, are an essential nerf to the raid, right? We're going to get these legendary overpowered rings. You didn't need any of them to get at least 12 down, and possibly by the end of the week, 13 of those bastards down. You didn't need it. Waste of time, because you could do it a different way if you were a good raider. If you thought properly and played properly, you can do it without that stuff. Item level and all that crap means nothing. All that extra crap, all the shipyards and the dailies and all that, it's like 10% of why I play. Would it be better if that percent, could I make that percentage higher? Yes, and it has been higher in the past. Absolutely. So then you ask yourself, Preacher, if you don't really care about that stuff, why is it affecting you? Why is it making you physically angry as it did today? Today, that content made me angry for the first time ever. Why? Because of Blizzard's WOD model, honestly. And I don't want to bash Blizzard more than ever, but this WOD model hopefully is a lesson that they'll take and walk away and go to the next expansion saying we just don't need to do that. And what am I talking about? It's the idea that players won't do content unless we give them a reason to, which then in turn makes that content mandatory. It also says to me, and call me a pessimist if you want, but it also says to me, if you're giving people like some big reward to go and do your content, that content can't be very good, right? It can't be very good, and there's examples of that. Netherwing Dailies was just a mount. It was just fun to do. No mandatory requirement, didn't have to go and do it. You could leave it alone if you wanted to. You could get a flying mount elsewhere, no big deal, but people went and did it. Ogrelar, loads of quests with groups, puzzles, all that kind of stuff. Didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do your Shatari Skyguard dailies either. Didn't have to do it. It was there. It was good content. It was fun. It had escort stuff going on there. All kinds of turning into different creatures. We look at the Throne of Thunder daily, where we had all the turning into mountain jumping monsters. We had it in Wrath of the Lich King with Ice Crown. We were jousting. We were doing all this kind of different, interesting stuff. Some people liked it. Some people didn't. But you didn't have to do it. That's the point. No reason. If you didn't want to do it, oh, I don't like this. Don't do it. It's fine. And the greatest examples ever were in Mists of Pandaria, surprisingly. The Brawlers Guild. Huge piece of content. Absolutely no requirement to go and do it. If you didn't like it, don't do it. Pet battle systems. No requirement to go and do it at all. Didn't give you something ridiculous like an item that you needed for every raid ever, Tanan, right? He didn't need that. Because Blizzard had the confidence to say, you know what, this is a good piece of content. If people want to do it, they'll go and do it. And what it seems to have got its way lost a little bit, which is why it makes me angry. Because this is content I have no interest in. I have no interest in the Tanan stuff. I don't care. But you've kind of made me go and do it because, one, it's got a rune there, which is going to save me a shitload of gold over the course of the expansion, and I should have it anyway because, you know, I want to be a decent raider. That's why I play the game. And flying's there, which for, as we know, a huge amount of people, they want to go and do it. But we can face facts. I don't need to go into details. Tanan and the shipyard aren't good content. They're terrible content. They're really bad. It's just one zone full of Apexis areas, which we already kind of had in the world anyway, and there's no reason to go there. I only bring this up as the posts are already appearing for the people who've done their Draenor Pathfinder stuff. As, why do I go to Tanan now? So the first question is like, why would I go here again now? Okay. Well, I've done what I wanted to get from there. I've done the mandatory reason to go there. So I'm not going to go there anymore. Which then shows the true colours of that content, right? Which is a bummer. It's really sad. But for me, it's not that big of a deal. I don't really care because that's not why I play the game. If that content was fun, I would be happier. There's no doubt about that. I would gladly go and do some content with my friends that's fun to do. But there's nothing fun to do there as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing fun to do in my shipyard. I can watch my boat sink or I can wait and spend 500 resources at a time. Come on, this is not fun. You know that, Blizzard. And honestly, this is kind of the foundation that WoD was built on. So if we could take anything out of WoD and bring it to the next expansion, it's like, please, I beg of you. And if this is wrong, fine, I'll hold my hands up. But it doesn't seem that way based on every piece of content. The reputation system, the garrisons, everything we've had in WoD that is outside of the raiding world, right? And there are so many people who are not in that raiding world who don't get that feeling I get. And I hope one day you do and understand why people put the hours into raiding that they do and why we dedicate that kind of time and effort into doing it and being prepared and the gold and the repairs and all that kind of stuff and the wiping over and over again. Why we do that. I hope one day you feel that, and I hope I can get you there. But if you're playing because you want to collect pets and mounts, and you want to experience all this content, or even just make cool transmogs, then this has been horrible for you, right? It's been horrible for you, and there's a lot of you out there, and I fucking sympathize, man. If that's why you're playing the game, yeah, I totally get why there's so much rage about it. So much rage about it. But the message we have to leave is, there doesn't need to be this big fucking carrot at the end of the stick to make us go and do content. And I hope that content isn't being made, and I feel it is, like they're making content and then asking how are we going to get players to go and do it, because that means your content's not great. It can't mean anything else. It just means your content's not great if that's the situation. It really does. Because if your content is good and you're confident that it's good, people will go and do it. It's as simple as that. If it's not inconvenient, like wildly out of the way, or it's got some other weird fucking progress system, or it's got to be unlocked and fucking that's done by doing some maddeningly boring content or something like that, as long as it's not locked away behind some sort of weird gated system. If it's just good and fun, people will go and do it. But right now, everything I ever see being announced or brought in is, okay, how are we going to get people to do that? And this is where it makes me angry, because when they do that, they can't help but add something that players are going to want, not just want, but need. Right? And that's where it becomes a problem, because you're then telling players who don't want to do that kind of content that they have to go and do that kind of content. And that's when people are like, oh, fuck off, man. Fuck off. And that's a fair comment to say. It's fair to say that. If you absolutely hate questing but you want flying, it's like, well, you've got to do Lore Master. It's like, oh, come on, man. Why? Why the fuck? What difference does it fucking make? Really? Does it make a difference? No. It's the end of the expansion as far as we're concerned in terms of content. Just fucking give it me. Let me play the game how I want to play it. And I am doing that, which is why I'm still happy. Wow. And thumbs up to me, I guess, but a thumbs up to many else of you. This is the point. It's like, what are you playing for? And if you're playing because of the stuff that you're doing and you're having a blast doing it, don't let the other stuff bother you too much. Don't let it bother you too much. Oh, why was I angry today? Let me finish. Let me tell you a story. Because I 100%ed all the content on my rogue. I told many of you to do the same thing. And I learnt my lesson in Hyjal when Firelands came in, is that they were like, oh, you have to have completed all the quests in this zone to unlock the new content. I was like, right, I'm going to learn my lesson. When I'm leveling my rogue, I'm not going to change zone immediately. One, I don't need to speed level. There's no reason for me to do that. So what I'm going to do is 100% every zone, right? Then I'll move on to the next zone, because at least I'll be getting XP, and it'll be kind of done. Sure, I was pretty much capped by the time I stepped in the Grand, but no big deal, right? I still wanted to do it, and we got an awesome cutscene at the end of it. Let's not forget how fucking kick-ass the leveling experience was in WoD. It was cool. It was. It was very, very fucking cool. So, when it came to the flying thing, as you guys know, I don't particularly care. So I swear to you, I'd never checked what I needed to do. All I knew was that you needed to get some of the reputations in Tanaan. And I was like, all right then, cool, whatever. It doesn't seem like a massive grind. I don't enjoy it, but it's not a big deal either way. And then I've seen people now getting their achievement. They're like, oh, they've done it already. And I skipped some days of dailies because I don't like that content. So I skipped a few days and I didn't need it straight away. So when they got that, I was like, oh, I'll click it. And what did I see? I'm missing something. I'm fucking missing something. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? And it was, I can't even remember, Janai something. So I swapped over to my rogue and I found the achievement. I'm like, holy shit. And you know what the achievement I was missing? The Apexis dailies. Oh my god. And the weird thing is, I've definitely 100% without fault done them all. Because the ones it was telling me I hasn't done, like Sketis and all that kind of stuff, I can tell you exactly what that is. Oh, that's the one where you get the refugees, you take them out of the building and all this kind of stuff. But it was missing 5 of them. And then I was left in this situation, which again points out, like, the link in WoD to everything to be mandatory is that your achievement system hasn't picked up that I've done this. I've definitely done this. I swear on my son's life, I have done this content. At least several times. Not just once, several times. But if I want the big juicy carrot at the end, I am now in a position where I need to go and do 5 Apexis dailies. For what? And the fun is not the answer, but I'd have to go and do them if I wanted the reward. And I was... why? Why? Why is it so tight? I mean, what would flying do to my Apexis dailies? What does it do? Oh, now he can shit all over the Sketis mission with his flying. I don't know, man, but that's why it made me angry. And I just thought, you know what? Everything has been tied to some sort of mandatory reward to force you into doing content. The garrisons, the Apexis stuff, every single piece of outdoor content has had some sort of mandatory link to make you go and do it. Instead of it just being awesome, which is what we had in the past. We did. It's not rose-tinted. Most of this content in the past was done better. I mean, if we just compare Tanaan to the Throne of Thunder daily area, which had, what, 5 scenarios? 4 scenarios or something? It turned you into fucking mountain giants and had rares at the end of it, had puzzles at the end of it, had things to look at, had all these extra things thrown in. And the reputation didn't fucking matter. It didn't give you anything, really. It gave you some gear if you had gear in the outside world. That's fair enough, and that's good content for you guys. But it was also fun. I had no problem doing those daily areas. They were fun as fuck. Always interesting, varied, switched it up every single time. But now, come on. Compare that to Tanaan. Oh, funny times. But there you go. That's why I still play, man. I still get 90% of my enjoyment out of World of Warcraft. I absolutely do. Absolutely do. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.